Danny Masterson to 30 years to life in prison for raping two women.
Has been sentenced to 30 years in prison by a U.S. federal court in New York after he was found guilty of sexually abusing women.
He will be tried for a third time for sexual assault allegations in New York.
What if I told you that some of the most famous faces in the world, actors, musicians, even politicians, are no longer walking red carpets, but pacing the cold yards of prison blocks? These aren't rumors or clickbait headlines. These are real stories built on hard facts and shocking truths. And the twists behind them are every bit as dramatic and unforgettable as the glamorous lives these stars once lived. In this special video on ex-Hollywood mistakes, we'll uncover the downfall of 10 world-famous celebrities. From chart-topping singers to blockbuster actors and influential public figures, whose lives took a dark and unexpected turn. Their stories are a chilling reminder that no amount of fame, money, or power can protect anyone from the consequences of their actions. Stay tuned, because the last name on this list is someone you'll never believe ended up behind bars. 1. R. Kelly, from R&B royalty to a life behind bars. For decades, Robert Sylvester Kelly, better known as R. Kelly, stood as one of the most influential figures in R&B. With his smooth voice and powerful lyrics, his songs became the soundtrack of love and hope for millions. But behind the applause and flashing lights, a much darker truth was hidden. In 2002, a leaked tape led to his first major legal battle, showing him in a compromising act with an underage girl. He was acquitted in 2008, and the world seemed ready to forgive, but time has a way of catching up. In 2019, the documentary Surviving R. Kelly broke the silence. Women shared their painful stories of manipulation, control, and abuse. The illusion shattered overnight. By 2022, Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in prison, and another 20 years were added in 2023, with most years running concurrently, leaving him behind bars until 2045. The man who once sang "I Believe I Can Fly" now faces a future where his wings are forever clipped. 2. Jared Fogle, the Subway spokesman who lost it all. For years, Jared Fogle was the smiling face of Subway sandwiches, the man who claimed to lose over 200 pounds by eating their meals. He visited schools, motivated children, and became a symbol of discipline and self-control. But behind the camera, something disturbing was unfolding. In 2015, the FBI raided his home and uncovered thousands of illegal files. He was linked to a secret network of exploitation that shocked America. The same year, Fogle pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 15 years and 8 months in federal prison. He now lives a life stripped of fame, money, and respect. A haunting example of how easily public heroes can fall. 3. Josh Duggar, the collapse of a perfect family. The Duggar family of 19 kids and counting fame portrayed themselves as the ideal Christian household, moral, strict, and disciplined. But when reports surfaced in 2015 revealing that Josh Duggar, the eldest son, had engaged in inappropriate acts with minors, including some of his sisters, everything fell apart. TLC canceled their show, sponsors withdrew, and the family's perfect image crumbled. Years later, in 2021, federal agents found illegal material on his devices. By 2022, Josh Duggar was sentenced to 12 years and 7 months in prison, with a possible release in 2032. From a symbol of purity to a national scandal, his story became a warning that appearances can deceive. 4. Ian Watkins, the rock star who destroyed his legacy. At the height of fame, Ian Watkins, frontman of Lost Prophets, commanded arenas with his voice and intensity. Fans saw him as a rebel icon, but in 2012, during a drug investigation, police found horrifying evidence of child exploitation on his devices. By 2013, Watkins pleaded guilty to multiple charges and was sentenced to 29 years in prison, followed by 6 years of supervision. In 2019, he was caught possessing a phone in prison, adding another 10 months to his sentence. His earliest release could come in the 2040s, but his reputation will never recover. The man who once inspired millions now represents one of rock's darkest downfalls. 5. Gary Glitter, the glam rocker's fall from grace. In the 1970s, Gary Glitter ruled the music charts. His hits, his costumes, and his wild performances defined an entire era of glam rock. but his fame hid disturbing crimes. In 1999, he was convicted for possessing illegal images of minors. In 2006, Vietnam authorities arrested him for child abuse. Then, in 2015, UK's Operation U-Tree exposed historic offenses, leading to a 16-year prison sentence. He was released early in 2023, only to be rearrested for violating parole. Today, Gary Glitter lives under heavy supervision. His glittering stage, lights replaced by prison walls, proof that fame cannot erase guilt. 6. Danny Masterson, from sitcom star to life behind bars. Millions knew him as Stephen Hyde from That 70s Show. Cool, sarcastic, and adored. But in 2017, allegations of sexual assault emerged, some from women linked to the Church of Scientology. After years of court battles and a mistrial, 2023 brought the verdict, guilty on 2 counts. He was sentenced to 30 years to life, marking a brutal end to his Hollywood journey. The actor who once made fans laugh now faces decades behind bars. A fall that shows how even the brightest stars can burn out in disgrace. 7. Elizabeth Holmes, the billion-dollar lie. At 19 years old, Elizabeth Holmes dropped out of Stanford to build Theranos, a company she claimed would revolutionize blood testing. Her black turtlenecks, deep voice, and magnetic confidence earned her comparisons to Steve Jobs. She raised $900 million, graced magazine covers, and became Silicon Valley's darling until the truth surfaced. The technology didn't work. Lives were endangered. Investors were deceived. In 2022, Holmes was convicted of fraud and conspiracy, sentenced to 11 years and 3 months, and began her term in 2023. Once seen as a visionary, she's now a cautionary tale about ambition without ethics. 8. Harvey Weinstein, the producer who started a movement. For more than 3 decades, Harvey Weinstein ruled Hollywood like an emperor. The co-founder of Miramax and the Weinstein Company, he was the driving force behind films like Pulp Fiction, Good Will Hunting, The King's Speech, and Shakespeare in Love. If there was an Oscar-winning movie in the 1990s or early 2000s, there was a good chance Weinstein had something to do with it. He wasn't just a producer, he was a power broker. The man whose phone call could make or break an actor's career. But behind the awards, standing ovations, and speeches of gratitude was a disturbing pattern of manipulation, coercion, and abuse. In 2017, everything changed. Dozens of women, actresses, assistants, and industry insiders came forward with allegations of sexual harassment and assault. Their voices, long silenced by fear and intimidation, broke through the glittering facade of Hollywood glamour. This wasn't just a scandal, it was a revolution. The revelations against Weinstein ignited the global Me Too movement, inspiring millions of women around the world to speak out against harassment and abuse, not just in Hollywood but in every field. In 2020, a New York jury convicted Weinstein on charges of sexual assault and third-degree rape, sentencing him to 23 years in prison. Then, in 2023, he was handed another 16-year sentence in Los Angeles for separate crimes, involving additional victims. Now in his 70s, Weinstein's health has deteriorated, and he spends his days in a medical prison ward. Once a kingmaker of dreams, he now faces the nightmare of a lifetime behind bars. The man who once stood at the center of the entertainment world, commanding red carpets and Oscars, now stands as a symbol of accountability, proof that no amount of fame or power can silence the truth forever. 9. Bill Cosby, from America's Dad to a convicted offender. For decades, Bill Cosby was the face of family entertainment. Known lovingly as America's Dad, he made audiences laugh, cry, and believe in goodness through The Cosby Show, one of television's most beloved sitcoms. His smooth voice, gentle humor, and fatherly wisdom turned him into a household name not just in America, but across the world. But behind the smiles and jokes, a much darker story was buried. Over the years, whispers circulated. Stories of women who claimed Cosby had used his fame and charm to exploit them. For decades, these stories were dismissed, forgotten, or silenced until the mid-2010s, when dozens of women came forward, sharing eerily similar accounts of being drugged and assaulted by the very man they had once admired. The accusations spanned over 5 decades, turning one of the most respected comedians in history into one of the most controversial figures in modern entertainment. In 2018, Cosby was convicted of aggravated indecent assault and sentenced to 3 to 10 years in a Pennsylvania state prison. The world was stunned. The image of the friendly TV dad replaced by that of an elderly man being led away in handcuffs. Though his conviction was overturned in 2021 on a legal technicality, his reputation never recovered. To many, his release was a reminder that justice doesn't always bring closure. Bill Cosby's fall from grace is one of the most painful and powerful in entertainment history. It serves as a stark warning that fame can create illusion, but it cannot hide the truth forever. The man who once brought laughter to millions now stands as a tragic reminder that even legends can fall. 10. Tekashi 6699, the rapper who betrayed his own crew. Born Daniel Hernandez, the rapper known as Tekashi, 6699 exploded onto the hip-hop scene like a firework. With his rainbow-colored hair, face tattoos, and wild energy, he quickly became one of the most polarizing figures in music. His tracks, Gummo, Fefi, and Kuda, stormed the charts, and his social media antics kept him in constant headlines. But behind the fame, chaos was brewing. Tekashi wasn't just an internet sensation. He was connected to the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods, a violent street gang operating out of Brooklyn. The very gang that boosted his image was the same one that would eventually bring him down. In 2018, federal agents arrested 6699 on racketeering, drug trafficking, and weapons charges. He faced the possibility of 47 years to life in prison. It was a stunning downfall for a 22-year-old, whose fame had skyrocketed in just months. Then came a move no one expected. Tekashi turned informant. He cooperated with the FBI, testifying against his former gang members in exchange for a lighter sentence. The hip-hop world was stunned. Some called him a snitch. Others said he was smart for saving his life. In 2020, he was sentenced to 2 years in prison, far less than what he could have faced, and was released early due to safety concerns and the COVID-19 pandemic. After prison, Tekashi tried to restart his career, boasting online about money and fame, but his credibility was gone. He became one of the most divisive figures in modern rap, both feared and ridiculed. Though he's free, he lives under heavy security, constantly looking over his shoulder. The man who once shouted about loyalty and power now stands as a lesson in betrayal, consequence, and survival. These stories remind us that fame can elevate, but it can also destroy. Behind every red carpet smile, there may be a secret waiting to surface. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the real stories behind the spotlight. See you in the next one.